There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, The Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Ayrton McCart. Wait a minute. Where's Ayrton? Has anyone seen Ayrton? Oh God, everything's falling apart. Well, until he shows up, joining me in the virtual studio today is John G. How you doing today, buddy? Can you hear me? Oh God, everything is awful. I'm not sure. John, if you can hear, let's see. Can you hear me, John? So everything seems to be working perfectly this evening. How's everyone doing? Matt, Christie, Erica in the chat. How are you guys? Oh, wait, I hear something. John, I hear you now. But you're deafened and muted, so I'm going to unmute. Okay, there you go.
Can you?
I can hear you. It's almost.
Am I being heard?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? This is wonderful. Let's see here. I'm not muted.
I'm hearing voice from the video.
Okay.
But I don't know if you guys are.
No, I can hear you in the Discord, but I'm guessing you can't hear me. I'm gonna drop out and come back in. So give me 1 second.
Man, I'm just listening to the video right here.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Well, I have the video playing right here next to me, and I think that's gonna be the only way to hear you right now, cause.
I don't know how that's gonna work. Let me pull you out and pull you back in real quick. All right. Now, how about now? Nothing? Everything's working wonderfully. So the chat can hear you, and I can hear you, but you can't hear me through Discord. Huh. This is what happens when Ayrton doesn't show up. Like, he's normally the one with the audio issues. Oy, oy, oy. Alright. Okay. Let me pull you down just a little bit.
Right. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, and they can hear you. Can you hear me? He can't hear me. He still can't. I'm not really sure what to do at this point. This has not really happened before. Alright, how about now? Anything? Nothing? I'm not sure why this isn't working. You really should be able to hear me through Discord. Everything's working properly on the Discord side of things. Everything's working properly in the OBS. This is fantastic, fantastic radio, folks. I'm aware. No co-host showed up. I think he died, actually. I'm pretty sure Corona Chan got the co-host. Let me just restart. Well, I don't want to restart the Discord completely. Exit out of the. Are you on the Discord program or are you on the Discord webpage? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. May have to unplug it, plug it back in, then rejoin the voice chat. I mean, yeah, you could try that. Oy, this is so. While we're figuring this out, did anybody catch the Super Bowl just now? Kansas City literally stole it like it was a wallet and a phone belonging to a fat man in Virginia. That they just ran away with that thing. But yeah, we seem to be having some audio difficulties. John is going to cycle his connection and try and come back. Gonna throw the rhythm bot in the waiting room, and we still have no sign of Ayrton. He was up. He's in the Discord. I see him. I'm gonna message him again. I'm gonna give him an angry face. Let's see, angry face. I wish they already had the man in the wedding dress emoji. I'd send him that. Let's see here. Angry face. No, that's a sick face. Here we go. Angry face. There we go. So I sent him an angry face. Can you hear me now, sir? Yeah, if this doesn't work, I'll just pull up Skype. I've got it booted up already. I'll DM you my Skype email on Twitter here. All right, such. So just add that to your Skype, and we will try it there. Matt Christie says sports are stupid. Yes, but the Super Bowl is fun. It's the only football game of the year I actually give a damn about. But yeah, paying attention to sports for the rest of the year. Talk to church about. Yeah, I use Skype. Skype is Ayrton is in the show chat. Where the hell have you been?
I fell asleep after my total of 4 hours in the past 2 days.
Oh, that happens. We're probably switching over to Skype. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. I DM'd my Skype email to you on Twitter at John. There you go, buddy. So hopefully that works, and we'll see him on Skype here momentarily.
All right.
But all a bunch of overpaid blowhards. Yeah. And Discord is also cancer. So you didn't show up,
really
so the
is.
audio issues hit with our guest tonight, and I blame you wholeheartedly.
I mean, that's understandable.
So while I wait on him to pull up the Skype link, did you watch any sports ball this evening?
No.
No. The Kansas City Chiefs
Not
just took it.
even a little.
Ralph is very happy on Twitter right now. It's actually a pretty good game. It wasn't a blowaway, and of all things that I can say about it, Tom Brady wasn't involved. So, you got that going for you.
All right.
But
Yeah. Let's see what else. Let's see what I had to play this morning. Part of why I'm so tired.
yeah.
And then the guy on bass is one of my friends that we've known each other since we were.
All right, hold on one moment.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, how's that? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump out of the show chat. Ayrton, I'm going to invite you to the Skype call.
All right, okay.
Yep. So the co-host finally showed up. So let's go ahead and get him in here. And there we go. So he should be joining momentarily. Anyway, since we had a few technical issues there, sorry about that, buddy. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, and let's talk about why you're on the show.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, first, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me.
Right, always, of course.
You know, I am John G. I'm John Gallagher. I am the writer and creator of the Grim Reaper. Me and my wife are kind of the team behind it. She's the artist. She's the illustrator in colors. I am the writer. Um, we both worked on this project before. We launched the first campaign in October. We successfully got it funded, and then we also successfully fulfilled it already to like completely. So everybody who backed it in demand as well, because we went in demand for a few months, for like 3 or 4 months. We fulfilled those, and then we felt like we were ready to do the sequel. We've been working on the sequel pretty much almost parallel to the first issue that we launched, and now we launched it, and within 4 days we already reached our goal, so we're really happy about that.
Excellent. I did have.
We just look forward to see.
Go ahead. Now I've got the campaign pulled up on stream here. The Grim Reaper 2. The Grim Reaper is back, and even hell is afraid. So I'm not sure how I missed this on the first go round, but I've been looking at this project since you and I first contacted each other on Twitter, and I've got to say, man, this looks amazing. Like the concept looks awesome. It's just the idea of the Grim Reaper tracking down an immortal serial killer. Is that the concept, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. It's thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't honestly, don't blame yourself. We were super new when we first started. At first, when we first launched, when we first kind of got done with the campaign, well, when we first got done with the book, we kind of reached out to a bunch of comic, well, to big names in the comic industry, like, a few big names out there, and we were pretty much kind of turned down by pretty much everyone, and a lot of them didn't even reply. So my wife brought up the whole idea of crowdfunding, and I was a little reluctant at first because I didn't know much about it, and also because we didn't really have that much of a following on Twitter or on social media at all. I mean, I barely ever used Twitter. I had it, but it wasn't something that I like used on a daily basis by any means. So
Right.
we kind of reached out to some people, and then that's how we stumbled upon kind of like the whole Comicsgate scene and everybody who was involved with that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just kind of started supporting us and spreading the word, and we launched the campaign. And it was hard work for sure. I remember that when we first launched it, within 5 seconds we got our first backer, so I was very excited about it, and I thought that it was going to be like that the whole time. But then it went really quiet and still for like 3 weeks, and we were freaking out because we've only had this one backer the whole time,
Right.
and we couldn't figure out what the heck, why weren't people like paying attention to it, was it getting to people. We made the mistake of actually paying for Facebook ads, which were completely and absolutely worthless.
Right.
And then we did our first live stream, and we started seeing the numbers go up, and then we figured that was really kind of the key to it all. Just kind of do live streams, started going on YouTube channels, and I mean, talking to people and whatnot, and that's really where it was. That's how we kind of started getting a name out there. But we did it kind of late in the game. When we actually we barely look, we had like 5 days left when we actually fulfilled when we actually got to fund a very modest goal of $1,000 for the first campaign.
Right.
So we got to that 50 backer milestone like late in the game when we were already in demand. Don't blame yourself for it. Like we are new at not being new for the first time. So we're new at something every time. But that's what it's all about. Getting our names out there and spreading the word.
Definitely, and that is one thing that I've noticed with a lot of these indie books. It almost seems like traditional methods of advertising just aren't as effective as they used to be with this crowd, because this crowd is, they're very plugged into the community. They're very plugged into the whole live streams, the retweets and whatnot. Most of these people don't, they don't see traditional methods of advertisement. So the people that put Facebook ads out there, Yeah, it might get you a little bit of visibility, but I don't think that that really equates to backers as much as people want it to anymore.
One
Just
hundred percent, I agree with you.
the Facebook crowd is just kind of a completely different, group of people than the people that came up in Comicsgate that are the YouTubers and the Twitter people.
Yeah, I gotta say, the Indiegogo kind of shows you where the clicks are coming from. There's something that you can see on there. It kind of tells you who's bringing you traffic and whatnot.
Right.
We kind of checked that because we wanted to do something nice for whatever our top promoter was, which we did. It just so happened that the top promoter was me. You know what I mean? Um, so we did something nice for the second biggest promoter, and kind of send them a gift and why not. But yeah, Indiegogo shows, and Facebook definitely is not something that gives you a lot of traffic, and when it does, it doesn't really translate into sales at all.
Right.
So I gotta say, and shout out to my friend Vinny Tartamella, who gave us a lot of pointers when he met us, and he told me something that stuck with me for this long. He always said, sell yourself first, and then people will buy the book. They'll back the book because a lot of times the concepts are neat, and I mean the art looks great and all that, but they gotta meet the people behind it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They gotta see who is the team behind it all, and you know what I mean, if they're part of the community and why not. And so definitely that's something that we have been really working on, kind of getting our names out there. And obviously it's kind of tough, we all work, we all have our lives and why not, but these live streams have been without a doubt what has helped us the most.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I can definitely say that I've been sold on a book more so by the creators behind the book than the concept of the book itself more times than not. There's only a handful of projects that the merit of the project drew me in without knowing anything about the creators.
Right.
And that's not to say anything about the merit of the projects that I've backed. Like everything that I've backed in good faith, and it has come through with everything that I expected it to be. When the ones that have at least fulfilled by now, the ones that haven't, I fully expect them to come through. But the thing is you back a creator, you back a concept. You right now with this indie movement, we're backing the idea that there shouldn't be a barrier to entry into this medium. And I think
Right.
that we're seeing more and more and more success out of that. Like it's not about like obviously I think everybody wants to hit that big, $1 million number or the $500,000 or the $250,000. I'm sure everybody would love to see that number. But I mean, go back to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Eastman and Laird. Those guys used a tax refund to print up as many books as they could, and they created one of the most popular franchises on the face of the planet.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I
They
agree.
didn't make $250,000 on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. They barely spent a couple $1,000s on it, but the fact that they put that money into that project and got it out there, it led to something huge. And it's like I was saying at the beginning of this, and I want to let Ayrton get in here. By the way, I put the link in the Discord under show suggestion. So if anybody
Yeah,
wants
we
to
got
pull
it
this
pulled up.
up, okay. If you have any questions or anything. But one thing that I wanted to point out is, like I mentioned at the very beginning of this, when you and I started talking and I took a look at this campaign, I was really drawn in by the concept of the idea of the book before I even saw the first piece of artwork to it. And I've got to know.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we are self-aware.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
We are very self-aware also to the fact that because we kind of came in late and all that to the live stream world and into Comicsgate after we've actually launched the campaign. We actually made a perk within this campaign so that people can back the whole pack. You know what I mean? They can back the second issue plus the first issue plus the spin-off story that kind of ties them together really nicely. So if you missed out on the first campaign, you can actually back this campaign and also get the issue number one. And if you did so already and you're a collector, you can get issue number one with a variant cover. So we figured that would it would be better to do it that way.
Oh yeah, and I've definitely looked at this because there is a tier on here where you can get everything as a PDF, and I believe there's also a tier where you can get all three books in physical. Correct? Is
Yes,
that
absolutely. You can get them in physical.
so?
Yeah, and also, there's other original art that comes with the book, like pinups, sketches. Some of the tiers also include a commission, and also we have drawings. That means that people who back it, they can be in the book. And the cool thing about these drawings is that not only will they see themselves in the book, but they're also gonna get called out by name. So a character will call them out by name, and so they will get to see themselves in the book, in a page of the book or whatever. So that's really neat too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Um, 1 second. It looks like we have
Yeah,
some.
I'll have to say, uh,
Go ahead.
when I started flipping through your campaign here, that did make me very happy that you could get issue 1 while backing issue 2.
Yes, yes, we
So
had
yeah,
we had the,
that's awesome.
thank you. We had the issue one kind of in demand. So we closed that one already. We closed it because we figure, there's no point in having that one up if we are also offering issue number one with this campaign.
Right.
So yeah, you can get it all. You can get it all, and you can also get merchandise that we are starting to work on, like T-shirts. And actually, one thing that we wanted to do is that if we reach that $2,000 mark, as a stretch goal, we want to give everyone a free pinup. And in the campaign, there's a pinup that you can see. It's like two sexy ladies that are
Yeah.
part of the. They're part of the book. You can have that pinup for free. Like every backer that it's part of the of the Indiegogo campaign. Every backer who's backed us will get that pinup for free if we get to that mark. So
Nice.
definitely a good deal there.
All right. So
And I do also love your Pandora's box
Yeah.
perk that just says a mystery box full with books and lots of surprises.
Right. Yeah, we kind of, that was a risky one. We wanted to do it anyways. We wanted to do it. Obviously, I promise it will be worth your money. You won't be getting coal or something like that. You'll be getting merchandise and books. And yeah, it was.
You should put the books and merchandise in one box, and then put that box in a larger one, and then put coal on top of the small box with the actual stuff in it before you send it out.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
that's just going to cost.
Yeah,
hard shipping,
people gotta look deeper, right? Right.
Exactly. Make them dig for a little bit.
Now,
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think the perks are really affordable. We have some digital perks that people can get for international backers, because I know that shipping can get expensive.
oh yeah,
But also, but at the same time, we also have, the possibility, like every purchase that's over $100 is free shipping. So we have a lot of cool stuff. A lot of neat things that we're doing with this campaign for sure.
that is awesome. And are you doing all of the all of the fulfillment yourself, or are you going through a fulfillment center?
No, I'm doing it myself. But we don't really have that many backers. You know what I mean? And it's really, packaging is it can be a little tedious sometimes, but we love doing it because we include in them like thank you notes and things like that, sketches.
Right.
So I don't think that a fulfillment agency or whatever would do as good a job as we do. Plus, in the past, we've seen people having trouble with them, like getting it straight out of the printer and to people, and they didn't actually check if there were mistakes or misprints or things like that, and then the backer gets it with a misprint.
Right.
So we definitely want to get the books, go through each one of them, make sure, because actually in this box that we just got with the last shipment of books, there was a book that had a huge misprint, and I freaked out because we'd already put all of them in the package. And so we pulled them out, we went through them, make sure that was only that one mistake on that one book. And it actually turned out that it was that only one book that had an error. But you have to be very careful, and you have to really check and double check, make sure that you don't include a faulty book or anything like that in somebody's package,
Right. And I've seen some really, really, bad stuff come out of fulfillment centers. I don't know if you're familiar with the campaign for stealing solo, but in some cases, like they would put the shipping label directly on the book and ship it like a bulk magazine. And I'm just like, oh man,
Mhm.
Yeah, what are they, animals?
yeah. It physically
Right,
hurt to
and
see
there's
that.
something, it's something that people really gotta keep in mind, and this is something that Adam always says to me. He says CG is a movement of collectors, and so you gotta treat him as such.
Right. Well, I mean,
So that's why we go for quality. I believe that
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say most.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the printer that we have.
Every time. Go ahead about the printer.
You can go ahead.
No, I insist.
Yeah, no, the printer. The printer that we have, I really love. And the quality of them, you can't really top it. I mean, you got the glossy look on the cover, really nice cover. Same glossy, really thick. I love it. But also this time we're actually doing perfect bound, so no more staples. So I'm really excited about it. I really want to see how they come out, and you can't really beat this printer. I love it.
That does sound appealing. I've been wondering when Perfect Bound was going to kind of take CG, because I loved Cyberfrog for everything that it was, but I really wish that book would have been square bound as opposed to stapled. And I understand why it wasn't, and that's because of the way the paper was cut and everything. But no, I just I
Yeah.
don't. So we come into this. We're looking at Grim Reaper 2, and like you said, you successfully fulfilled your first campaign for Grim Reaper 1. You're offering Grim Reaper 1 again with this one. So I want to take a look at kind of the story and what you've included here in the Indiegogo campaign, and we'll stop as we go through and we'll talk about the different bullet points. But the first section here says, "Hello, comic lovers, supporters, friends. John G. here, writer and creator of the Grim Reaper, bringing you the sequel to our first successful campaign, the Grim Reaper 2. In this cosmic horror adventure, we will continue the story of the Grim Reaper as he travels to Hell, trying to find out who is killing the immortals, and most importantly, with what." So, do you feel like it would be too spoilerific, or can you give us an idea of some of the immortals that have been killed off in the first edition of this book?
You gotta be very careful with me, because I'm a spoilers lover. I once you get me talking, I don't know when to stop. So I will let you stop me if you think that I'm going too deep into it.
We'll go ahead and give a spoiler alert right here. So if you don't want to know anything about this,
all right,
check the link down.
Possible spoiler alert.
Check the link down in the description below right now, and just mute the video while you go take a look at it.
Right.
And go check out Grim Reaper 2. But with that given, please, by all means, tell me.
All right. Well, the Grim Reaper. I think I should preface this by saying that the Grim Reaper in this universe, in this where this is taking place, it's a person. It's a former person. So the Grim Reaper is kind of a mantle, kind of a job, kind of something that you can pass on to one person to another. Kind of like how the Ghost Rider works in the Marvel universe. The Grim Reaper in this case, if you guys love history, is the Red Baron from World War I. He's this famous pilot that everybody thought he was invincible. He was like he was the German terror. Everybody wanted to shoot him down, but nobody could catch him until they did. They shoot him down. He gets a visit from the Grim Reaper, from the former Grim Reaper, and the Grim Reaper offers him to take on the scythe, take on the cloak, and become the Angel of Death, basically from there on, as a kind of a way to escape the punishment that awaited him in hell. So he becomes the Grim Reaper, and then we find out that he has a family. He has children that also have kind of powers. His children represent different ways in which people die. Kind of like you have Themis, which is the daughter of the Grim Reaper. She's the beautiful death. She kind of appears in the last moment when people are dying peacefully of old age. You have Styx, who's kind of like the stupid death. He kind of shows up when people are doing something dumb that puts their lives in danger.
Darwin.
Then you have Perseus.
You got Darwin.
Yeah, Darwin, exactly. Right. Then you have Perseus, who's kind of like the brave one. He's a soldier's death. You know what I mean? He's a warrior, and he's kind of the one that takes the souls to the underworld of those people who die in combat and things like that. You know, and the Grim Reaper overall just kind of oversees the whole operation. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he is human in nature, and we kind of explore that in the Grim Reaper 1, how he struggles with his job because of what it represents, being that he still has a heart, being that he still has, you know, human feelings, and you know what I mean, and that he basically is in charge of something like that. Now, in the Grim Reaper 2, he's kind of in this. He's kind of a detective, kind of a murder mystery story. You know what I mean? It starts out with we find out that the immortals are like these gods, right? But part of the immortals are also the demons of this world. You know, so that's why we kind of include that Greek mythology there, that Pandora's box thing. You know, the demons. That I call the sins are kind of like things that they represent, their personifications or you know, of things, of concepts like greed, rage, you know, hatred, and in this case is lust, is you know, is basically sex. So that's why we have this sexy chick on there, that's this sexy demon. You know, she represents lust and things like that. So she gets murdered. Like on some of the first few pages of the book, and of course, and then the Grim Reaper goes on trial for it, because not only is he in charge of making sure that mortals die, but he's in charge of making sure that immortals never die, right? So they tell him that he has to find out who's doing it, and most importantly, what kind of weapon are they using that can actually kill gods? You know what I mean? Yeah. So so it's kind of like this detective mystery thing. That's how it's. The first issue ends in a really cool cliffhanger that I really tell you guys gotta back that one to see how it ends, because that's exactly where he picks up in the next one, and so we discover who's behind it and why not. And the Grim Reaper goes to hell. This time I actually gave him the horse of the apocalypse to go down to hell. This horse breathes fire. Is a super cool horse. He can talk to. I love that character. You know, I'm trying to. Bring the soul of this immortal being back to the world of the living, because she doesn't belong in there. And so, of course, he has to fight his way out of hell, because everybody in hell hates him. You know, of course, he puts most of them there. And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. You know, I play with other concepts and why not. Like all the demons that come out of Pandora's box are free, and they kind of ruling the world from behind the scenes. You know, you have the demon Hope, which was actually in the Greek myth. You know, Hope was one of the demons inside the box. And this time she's a politician. You know what I mean? She's a politician. She kind of a puppet master behind a lot of the things that are happening. So it was a pretty cool thing to do. But she's she's kind of a sexy politician. So we're gonna do a pinup of hers as well. You know, she's not like the Hillary Clinton kind of politician. You know, she's more of a, I don't know, Sarah Palin kind of politician. You know,
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's more of what the story is like. And then again, in this campaign, we're also launching a spin-off, another book that has to do with the Grim Reaper universe, because everybody kept asking me, you know, well, how come the Grim Reaper has children? You know, where do they come from and why not? And so we kind of find the story of the love of the Grim Reaper, the love of his life. That story starts out in Siberia, because I like to throw like different historical events and characters in there and kind of, you know, make him into a fantasy story and why not. I did that with Dracula in issue 1. Dracula was in there, you know what I mean? But like the actual person, Vlad Tepes, and why not? And others. I'm doing this one with the Mad Monk of Siberia. His name was Rasputin. He was a wizard. He like dark magic. You know, he was a necromancer. So because he was a necromancer,
we're familiar with Mr. Rasputin on this show.
Right.
Church aspires to be him.
Oh yeah.
If you saw his beard.
That's good. Those are some good shoes to fill. But Rasputin, he was a known necromancer, you know, so he talked to the dead. So because of that, I kind of made it so that Rasputin and Death, the Angel of Death, or the Grim Reaper are friends. So the Grim Reaper, being that he's his friend, comes to tell his friend, look, man, your time is up. I'm just letting you know in advance because you're my buddy. You know, I'm just telling you that you're fatally ill and you're gonna be coming with me soon. And Rasputin says, if it's my time, it's my time. What can we do? Just stay with me, have a drink. And so the Grim Reaper sits with him. They have some vodka. They start partying it up. And in the middle of this party, kind of Rasputin challenges the Grim Reaper to an arm wrestle competition. And the Grim Reaper accepts, and they have a bet. And Rasputin tells him that if the Grim Reaper is unable to beat him, if Rasputin beats him, then he cannot take him. He cannot take his soul. And the Grim Reaper accepts the challenge, and Rasputin cheats, and he cheats death. And so the Grim Reaper has to let him live. The only way to do this is he gives him an antique. He gives him a medallion that so long as he wears it, he cannot be killed. So Rasputin puts on the medallion, and I make it so that's how he's been curing Alexander, the son of the Tsars in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Through this medallion. And of course, if you guys have heard about the history of it and how it happened,
Mm-hmm.
the assassination attempt of Rasputin was super botched. They poisoned him, they shot him a bunch of times, they threw him in a frozen river, and this man would just not die.
Yeah, they set him on fire a couple of times. They did everything they could to kill him, and nothing stuck.
Right. And so I'm making it so they couldn't kill him because he was wearing this thing, right? And until they got it off, they couldn't do that. So the medallion gets passed on to someone else, and we find out who that person is and how the Grim Reaper falls in love with her, and why not, and how they have children eventually. So it's a whole family concept here, and I think it's really good storytelling. The dialogues are funny at times. There's some drama, but there's definitely tons of action, tons of fun, and some horror. Even there's a lot of horror scenes that are really unexpected. Like you're flipping through the pages, you're seeing what's developing, and then we hit you with something visually very either gory or but it's always presented in a very elegant manner. I think that's kind of like the whole theme of the book. Like you look at the cover and just the skull, the way it's presented, it's a very elegant thing. And so that's kind of what the Grim Reaper is all about.
It's a very minimalist, less is more design, and I really like it.
Yes.
But the more you tell me about this, I'm reminded of some of my favorite stories. One of which where Death falls in love with a human woman that we actually just recently covered on the show. Are you familiar with East of West by Jonathan Hickman?
No, I have not read it. I haven't read it yet, but I'll look it up for sure.
Definitely a good one. I don't know what happened in church.
Did I die?
Yeah,
I died.
Yeah.
But it's a post-apocalyptic tale where you have Death falling in love with a human woman, and the four horsemen of the apocalypse actually walk the earth and are reborn as children every time they die. It's really weird. It doesn't really strike me as something that inspired this book per se, but the idea of Death falling in love with a mortal and having a family just kind of sparked that similarity between the two stories.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I like the concept so far, and the fact that you've already got some spinoffs working, even with the main storyline as it's going in the background. Like as it continues on, you've got spinoffs coming off the side of it. It's a really good way to expand on a concept, on a story, and I like the fact that you're offering multiple books on one campaign as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I figure, I am. My wife always tells me, that I just can't stop with the ideas. I just can't help myself. And I love history. I love mythology, and I love to include a lot of that. I'll wake her up in the middle of the night and tell her, I have an idea. Let's include this in the book. She hates me for it, and you know what I mean. Well, but it is what it is.
If our wives don't
it's
hate
better
us,
than snoring and keeping her awake, right?
Right.
if our wives don't hate us just a little bit, are we really doing our jobs as husbands correctly?
Right. That's exactly what I say.
We've got a question in the chat for you. Does the Grim Reaper battle any angels in your story? Are there any fist fights with angels?
So the thing here is, and again, spoiler territory. The thing here is that we come to find that the world is the way it is because the angels lost the battle a long time ago. All right, when the sins were left out of the box, most of those gods, most of the good forces of nature, were kind of they were see the thing is, I'm working on another spin-off for the campaign number 3 that we are already writing and revising and all that. And so I kind of make it so these angels or these supernatural beings, they're actually aliens that come from another place. You know what I mean? And they were all kind of a big family that kind of just split the kingdoms. Like you take Greece, you go take Egypt, you take India, and that's how the major religions were born. Like these aliens came, and people and humans just worship them, and why not? And so the main plot of the Grim Reaper 2, which ties in with this one nicely, is the weapon that they used to kill this immortal, right? And how was it forged? You know what I mean? And so this weapon has killed gods before, and it has killed angels. So that's kind of how the story is going to go and how it's going to expand into a kind of a Grim Reaper universe, if you will. So the Grim Reaper will not be fighting any angels in this one. He will be fighting demons. But in coming issues, there will be some fighting between gods, Nordic gods, Greek gods, and all that against these evil creatures, and we will find out how the Grim Reaper came to be in the first place.
Nice. I like
it.
that.
Yeah, I'm with it. It doesn't.
We're
it
both
doesn't
pretty
sound,
big mythology.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound
fans.
just like a Spider-Man or a Superman clone either. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I like the resurgence of indie books has done. Like, it really shows that there's more to comic books than your standard superhero fare. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me some capes and tights, but
Right.
I also like reading good stories, and there's
Absolutely.
only so many stories you can tell about Spider-Man without having to completely warp the character into something he was never meant to be.
Right. And the thing with that is, I've always said, comic books, just like Stanley used to say, comic books are just books with pictures. There has to be nothing different between them. And people think that for some reason comic books have to be intellectually, I guess, less than normal books, than normal literature, but it doesn't have to be. I think that my favorite author, without a doubt, or my top 2 authors, without a doubt, are Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore, because I felt like they could write, whether superhero movies or just other normal comic book movies. Comic books, in an intellectual level that was just pretty much up to par with anything that was just a normal book or a novel, And they made it feel that way, I mean, you look at the Watchmen, you look at the Sandman series by Neil Gaiman, and they are very smart comic books.
Right.
Yeah.
I've often made a joke that Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Garth Ennis are all the same person.
Yeah.
They just changed their name for tax purposes.
They just changed their name, yeah.
But I've always kind of been pretty big on the I don't want to call it highbrow because it's not exclusionary, but when you read an Alan Moore comic book, even if it's something like Neonomicon, which has the giant fish peanuts in it, it still kind of leaves you sitting
You
there
just like
thinking
finding
about
any way to bring that up, don't you?
I do. I like that it makes you uncomfortable.
Okay.
But it still leaves you thinking. Like anything Alan Moore's done, Garth Ennis is a very vulgar writer. I mean, he will put things in there just like Andy Kaufman used to into his comedy routine that literally are designed to make you go ew, but you still want to keep reading it, and even though it made you go ugh, it's good. A lot of people have recently picked up on The Boys, and The Boys was a Garth Ennis joint. But what a lot of people don't realize is that he also did Preacher in its completion. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of my favorite books ever was Miracle Man. That was a very interesting take in the whole superhero genre, and I think, Alan Moore, you could tell that he didn't really like superheroes,
Yeah.
But at the same time, he made him very very novelesque to, he made him very intellectual to a lot of people, and I think that's what people miss, the superhero lore and comic books lore, there's depth to it. There can be, and some people do it.
Well, I like to crown him basically the father of comic book deconstructionism. He was
Yes.
the first person to break a comic book superhero down to its base parts and expose the flaws and the fragility. Fragility? Is that a word?
Yeah, fragility. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm from the South, so English is my second language. Uh,
That's so good.
occasionally I'll
I,
come,
I think it's fragility, but close enough.
Yeah,
but
close enough.
he just exposed the nature of heroes and how they weren't all sunshine and rainbows. And unfortunately, the nuance of that style of writing just kind of fell out when that became the norm.
Right.
Nowadays you can't make it 6 months without an earth-shattering event within Marvel or DC where every superhero is fighting every other hero. If I had a
Right.
if I had $1 for every time Wonder Woman and Aquaman almost killed each other, then Iron
How many
Man,
dollars would you have, Church?
like at least 16. But
That's a lot.
I've got you've got Iron Man and Captain America going at each other's throat every other week over at Marvel. There's some big
Yeah.
cataclysmic event that somehow makes the superheroes have to fight one another. Oh wait, this was an interdimensional clone because of the cosmic cube, so it's okay. The good guy's back, but it just it takes away, I think, from the overall nature of what a superhero is, and you really don't get the shining light stories that you kind of need for the genre to succeed. Like you're not going to want to buy a deconstructionist comic book for an 8-year-old. And when
Exactly.
Doc
Yeah.
Ock is struggling with moral ambiguity, you're not going to buy, or in Spider-Man's body, that's not something that someone like myself in their mid 30s is going to buy my 8-year-old kid to enjoy
Hmm.
Spider-Man for the first time because that's
Right.
not
And
Spider-Man.
yeah, and I think another important thing to say is that those kind of comic books that you're talking about, a lot of them were never meant to be movies or TV shows. And
No,
I think The Boys pulled it off. The Boys was great. You know what I mean? But I think Watchmen was never meant to be. Watchmen was never meant to be. It should remain as a book. Because that was the whole point.
I think that Zack Snyder probably did the best that he could with
Oh yeah,
adapting
absolutely.
The Watchmen,
Hmm.
but I don't think that beyond that it should have never been a TV show. I
Yes,
think
absolutely
that
not.
the X-Men movies, they were garbage and really should have set the stage that you can put Blade in an R-rated superhero movie and make it work. You can
Right.
put you know Superman in a movie and make it wholesome. 8-year-olds should
Hmm.
read Alan Moore. Dan Gams, no, never should an 8-year-old read Alan
What's
Moore.
wrong with you?
But you can put Superman in a movie, you can put Batman in a movie, but the Avengers that worked, but I think they just milked it too far, and I don't think it's going to work again.
Yeah. No, I think it was a good way to end it, and I would leave it at that because I would leave it where it is. But I don't know. I'm sure there's gonna get progressively worse, and tedious, and people are getting already fatigued from it. But I liked it where it ended. I think they did a fine job. I really enjoyed the Avengers. I really enjoyed the Endgame, and Infinity War. But I think that's where I'm gonna stop with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm basically capped out of most superhero media these days. I just want to read my comic books.
Right.
But
Right.
let's get back to your campaign here. You said your wife was the artist and color on those
Yes.
books.
Yeah. She did the coloring. She illustrated the book. Yeah, she's very talented. She comes from a manga kind of background, and she blended them in. There's manga hint to a lot of the faces and a lot of some of the action sequences in the book. But
Mhm.
she decided to go as Western as possible, of course, with the coloring because most mangas are black and white, but she kind of blended that style. And believe it or not, this was kind of her first time trying to color. She just always drew. So And it keeps improving. It keeps improving. I'm very proud of her and what she's done, and I think that the art speaks for itself.
It does.
She's done an amazing job. She's very committed to the campaign,
Now,
and I love to see how it keeps evolving too.
now I do have one question here. I've got the pinup. Did she do the pinup?
She did the pinup, yeah.
Okay. You've got to ask her, as a woman, where are these ladies' organs? How can she be such a
Right,
misogynist? How can we can't have any
right,
female
no,
misogynist over here? She's using her male privilege
yeah.
to draw these women. But no,
She will, man. I'll tell you, she is.
all
She
jokes
loves drawing
aside,
sexy stuff. She does it. Yeah.
her work is fantastic. So you've got that going for you. You've got a great thing working with the creative talent you guys have put together, and I hope
Oh, so thank you very much.
I hope very much so that you guys blow through this $1,400 you've got now. I hope this goes up tenfold because this is something that deserves a lot more.
Thanks. I do hope so too. I do hope so too. I'm very happy where we are. I know that we're not going to be making Cyberpro money yet, but we want to get there someday. You know what I mean? We will keep working hard. This is our second campaign. We just kind of getting the name out there. I know that a lot of people take a little bit more time to kind of get the following, then they launch. But to me, you know what I mean. I just want my books to be in people's hands and people read them. Money is a second thing. It's the second thing that can wait. You know what I mean? It's not the priority. And what I care for the most right now is that people will read my stories and they will see the art of my wife and our team, and they will enjoy it. And hopefully, we can make someone's day. It will be a fantastic feeling. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're all about that. We're all about that. That's what creators do, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, and
That's what we want.
fantastic. Now, before we wrap up and get out of here, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter show tonight. Super Bowl, we had some tech issues at the beginning, and Ayrton, I believe, is about halfway to death.
Right.
To get some sleep. But before we get out of here,
a third of the way.
well, I mean, we are talking about the Grim Reaper, and if I say his name 3 more times, he will appear to get you.
He will appear. Yeah, he will show up.
But we do have some questions that we like to ask our creators when they come on. First and foremost, where did you get into comics? Like, how old were you? What were some of the first titles you got into? What was the situation surrounding all that? However you want to take the question.
Right. I remember that I was really big into Hellboy.
Okay.
I couldn't in my younger years, I couldn't really say, but I think that the one thing that really told me, you gotta write comics, because I always loved writing like little short stories and whatnot when I was a kid. Right. But I think that the Neil Gaiman's run on the Sandman is what really got me into it, and it was by no means well drawn. I mean, it was an awfully bad looking comic, but the writing behind it is what really got my attention, and I was like, yeah, this is something I want to do.
Okay. All right. I don't mind that at all. I've actually always loved Mike Mignola and Hellboy,
Right.
and that weird art style that just kind of it just felt like it had so much more like imagination in it. Like he wasn't
Yes.
trying to be hyper realistic. He wanted you to know that you were in a fantasy world.
Right, exactly. But I also think that Hellboy did horror in a way that is probably the only way that works in comics, because with this kind of visual media, when you flip through the pages, you can see what's coming. Even if you're reading this panel over here, you can kind of see in the corner of your eye the next panel. So there's really no way to include a jump scare or something like that. Right. But they did that in a way that actually worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never,
And there's something to be said about turning the page and subverting the expectations of what you expected to see.
Right, exactly.
That full page splash that happens right after you turn a page where some action was going on and you see the outcome and it wasn't what you were expecting. those are the
Yes.
kind of things that you really look for in a great book.
Absolutely. And I think Hellboy did that magnificently all the time.
Okay. Chad in the chat says, "Are you a JoJo fan?"
No, I don't really know what that is.
It's an anime, I believe, or a manga. It's some it's some weeb stuff. We have a guy for that.
Oh, my wife, I'll tell you, she knows all about manga and anime. She tried to get me into some of it. We watched, what was it, Fairy Tale. She showed me another one. I can't really. Magical Madoka or something like that. And they were good. They were really good. But I'm just starting to get into it. You know what I mean? And I'm just seeing whatever she shows me. So,
couple of recommendations for anime or manga, either one. Hellsing is always high on the list. That's some vampires, ancient monsters, and some government agencies all mixed into one.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something to read, recently we've been reading the Guyver anime or manga rather, and I don't know if you remember the movies from the '90s that came out.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, that there was a manga that was going on and is still going on from before that. So those were actually based on a manga. Chad Middleton says, "Watch Dragon Ball Z." I think everybody knows what Dragon Ball Z. I don't even think that actually counts as an anime anymore.
Yeah, that I've watched. And I was actually really into it when I was younger. Yeah, I actually like what they did now with the last movie that they had with Broly and things. I really love that one.
We don't talk a lot about Dragon Ball Z on the channel, but it was definitely an influence growing up for me as well. You get off school, you got 2 episodes back to back on Cartoon Network of Dragon Ball Z, and if Goku was charging a spirit bomb, you might as well not even watch. Well, he's gonna be charging a spirit bomb for 6 more weeks. We got
for
time.
6 more weeks. Yeah, I tell you. But one thing that I really love about Dragon Ball, and I still do it to this day. When I'm writing, I'm still playing the music. I love the music. The whole soundtrack is just like all the fighting soundtrack and all that. It gets me going, through fighting scenes and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So, Ayrton, do you have any questions?
I was gonna throw a manga out there, Goblin Slayer. That one's a fun one that we reviewed here on the channel.
All right, I'll look into it definitely, man. Thanks for all that. I love it. Yeah.
But you did mention that your wife was into the anime and the manga, so I think that might be where Chad Middleton got the JoJo inspiration. Maybe she's a JoJo fan, and that's where that's coming from. But again, I am not what they call a weeb. I do not know. But I will scroll through the artwork one more time, and I love the horse with the nightmare. I believe this is. I love the black and white and the full color. Maybe that's a tier you look at next time, is doing a black and white book. Just as
we were actually thinking. We were thinking about that. Yeah, we're thinking about that, and it's possible. It's doable. All of those ideas that we're getting and that we kind of writing down are mostly going to be saved for stretch goals. And I think the first one that we had was the pinup, and we'll keep going from there. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe we will get to 5,000 or something like that, and we could add all of those wonderful stretch goals. Yeah.
Well, here's to 10K. Everybody go check out the Grim Reaper 2 on Indiegogo. John Gallagher. The link is down in the description below, and we definitely appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to add, or anything else you want to talk about or plug?
No, thank you very much for having me again. I really loved it. Your show's amazing. Check out the Grim Reaper if you want to support your indie creators. We're very passionate about what we do. We definitely love this story. I know you will love it too. The artwork is fantastic, and the storytelling is great too. You fall in love with these characters, and you will want more.
All right, we're gonna close out the show. We're gonna watch this promo video on the page here, and then I think that'll be it for this evening because I had to wake my co-host from 1/3 death. So I'm gonna put him back to bed so that he can actually make the show later on in the week. But yeah, if you at any point in the future want to come back on, just shoot us a message and we will get that
Yes,
set up.
please.
I would love to, guys. Thank you for inviting me again. And
right.
yeah, go ahead. Remember, don't mention death 2 more times or he'll come.
That's right. Don't say the
Fantastic.
Grim Reaper while spinning counterclockwise in your mirror. Wait a minute.
Damn it, Church! No, I have coronavirus.
All right.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye. No. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Have a good one, man. All right.
You too.
Jump over back to Discord now.
Oh.
All right, I am here. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Well, I mean, you would have been able to hear me regardless of whether I was in the Discord. But now Ayrton is in the Discord with us. We've got the promotional video on Grim Reaper 2. Let me know when you've got that pulled up and ready to go. It's on the campaign page. The first thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit play right now. Oh, the gods. There we go. See Thor. There's everything escaping from Pandora's box. Bottom text, same Reaper. I like it. Yeah, I like that you saw the gods there. You got Anubis, Thor, look like Zeus. So,
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, check out Grim Reaper 2. It's okay, Church. It's not 3 a.m. I know, but Ayrton's been good enough to me to let me catch up on sleep. My man passed out before the show and actually still came in. If it would have been me, I'd have just gone back to sleep and been like, man, I slept straight through it. I would have looked at the clock, seen that he had messaged me, completely ignored him, and went back to sleep until morning. And then I would have woken up fresh in the morning like, oh, man, I missed it.
Well, the annoying part is I set some precautionary alarms, right? And my damn phone, it's been fucking up all week. Like, it'll be at 100% and plugged in and just shut off.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, like, the alarm was going off. Like, like on the lock screen, like, the alarm notification was on the screen, but there was no sound. So, I don't know. I've had this phone for a while. I'm hoping I can get another 3 years out of it before I absolutely have to upgrade, because I hate upgrading, getting new phones. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Well, I mean, considering the last new one you got, in fact, I've got a picture of the last phone you got. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this pulled up here.
Yeah.
Man, here we go. I think I've got it here. Let me get this pulled up on air for the people at home. This is an image of the last phone that Ayrton purchased. Right here. Yeah, Motorola bag phone.
Hey, Those things are styling, especially if you're wearing a suit coat with really big shoulder pads.
Oh man, but yeah,
You gotta get the mullet rocking though.
Yeah.
You need it. You need that business in the front and the party in the back.
Right. We do have the upgrade coming though. I've got an upgrade on the way for you. I used some Patreon money to get you a new phone. It should be in the mail very soon. There we go. Get that up on screen for the people.
Is it a carrier pigeon?
No, it's the Zach Morris block phone. You're not going to be stranded in the car during the show anymore. You can actually leave the car during the show now.
Well, damn. That's going to be weird.
Not a dial on it or anything.
I won't know what to do with myself with that.
I know, right? Well, I mean, if you get robbed, you can just hit somebody with it.
Exactly. They're practical.
But
sharpen the antenna a little bit.
That's right. It's not like you need it for reception. No cell providers actually still provide service for this fucking thing. But anyway.
I wonder if you could get a basic cellular plan for one of those.
Oh God, I hope so. We should both get one.
That would be hilarious.
They'll be like our walkie-talkies to each other. Like, I doubt the NSA still keeps tabs on those phones.
Well, it'd be hilarious to walk into a Verizon store with one of those in a backpack.
Yeah.
Be like, I'd like to get this phone activated, please.
Oh man. But we have 52 week 5 we can cover tomorrow. I believe we have Mr. God damn it. We have Cross Comics coming on tomorrow as well to do a final push on the Canadian Shield.
All right. That's
I'll
right.
I'll see if Dillard wants to come on and harass him a little bit while he's on air. But Rick Piper of Cross Comics should be on tomorrow to do a final push on the Canadian Shield. But seriously, guys, check out the Grim Reaper. If it's not something you can back at the moment or want to back, be sure to share it around. Get some more eyeballs on that comic. Good guy, good concept, great husband and wife team there. So
I'm definitely gonna be checking my bank account tomorrow.
It's still in the red. It said your car ate all the funds.
Ah, well, good thing it's cheap.
Yeah, but anyway, I definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Ayrton, for pulling yourself out of your beauty rest to make it here. We know that you don't look that good just because of the massive amount of cocaine and lack of sleep. So
exactly.
We really
exactly.
It. I'm gonna take the night off from doing Corona Chan updates and get a little bit of work done and take my happy ass to bed as well. But tomorrow night we will continue and actually do 52 week 5. And so sorry for anybody who saw the thumbnail and the title, and I'm letting you down now. But we've had some extenuating circumstances, and I don't want to rush through it.
No, definitely not this issue.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think we might have a different opinion on this issue. Like, it gives you a lot of exposition, but it's one of the more boring issues, I feel like, to me. Well, we'll get into that tomorrow.
We'll save it.
But anyway, maybe this will be the first one that Ayrton's like, I don't know, and I'm just like, eh. But you'll see tomorrow night. Join us as we talk to Mr. Rick Piper, and I'll reach out to Dillard and see if he wants to come on as well. And we will see you guys
I'm sure he will.
on the next one. Thanks everybody for coming out. Chad, Dan, Matt, Christie, Erica, everybody for showing up, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that nonsense. Did hit my 1200 on Twitter, so thank you guys if you had anything to do with that. But also we're up to 272, I believe, on the YouTube. So we're going places. we're doing some things. We're one step closer to that like 4 or 5 hour stream where we talk Meyer v. Wade. But until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate it, and I hope all you guys have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.